Okay, I thought a video blog post would be appropriate for today, as we're going to be comparing the Atari 2600 with the Intellivision. Now, I've got the old school TV here set up. I've got a switch box so we can go back and forth between the two consoles instantly. And the game that we're going to be comparing is Demon Attack. Now this is the Intellivision box. It's got some pretty cool looking artwork on the front. Bottom slides out like this. The manual is actually very nice, colorful, has images. Comes with a center poster of the box cover art. And it's much nicer than the manuals you see in today's games. Unfortunately, the nice artwork of the manual is ruined by the cartridge cover and the game manual cover, which is indeed a plastic dinosaur that has been spray painted silver and had airplane wings glued to it. Okay, you'll have to excuse the Technicolor light show and the somewhat unconventional video method, but this is the only way I could think of actually getting the gameplay of these two consoles on film. And we're going to put it on channel 3, turn the volume up a little bit, and there is the Intellivision start screen. When you first turn it on, I'll go ahead and hit the reset button. There we go. Ooh, that made it staticky. Come on. As you can see, reliability on consoles this old is kind of a problem. The connection on these older ones is notorious for cutting out at random, so I apologize ahead of time if that happens to us. But anyway, back to the gameplay. This is the Intellivision. As you can see, we have a moonscape here on the bottom. This is our ship going back and forth, shooting, I guess, what are demons. And we have an Earth in the background here. And as you can see, 1982 in Magic Software. Now we're going to cut over to the Atari 2600 start screen, which is a lot plainer. Our ship is down here at the bottom and keeps getting blown up by the computer repeatedly. Apparently it sucks at playing its own game. The demons are all the same color, all white. Imagic is at the top here, and we have some sort of, I guess, ground at the bottom. I don't know if that's supposed to be Earth or what. Graphics are obviously better on the Intellivision, except now they're in black and white for some reason. I'm gonna fiddle around with the cord again and maybe make the color come back. Oh, there it goes. But graphics don't mean everything in a game, so let's see how they play. Okay, I decided to start out on the 2600 of the version of the Demon Attack game, simply because I decided to do that one first. Now I'm having to play with the Genesis controller because the joystick that my friend gave me does not work. Just use the B button on the Genesis controller as the fire button and it will work just fine. Now, to get the game to start, once you turn it on, you simply hit game reset and you start shooting. Now, as you can see, when you hit an enemy, one warps in, but notice that the bottom enemy is the only one that will shoot at you. The top two simply float around and do nothing, and they can become a real irritation later on in the game, as I will, whoop, nope, I managed to hit that one. They can become a real irritation towards the end of the wave when no new enemies are spawning, and you're left trying to hit the two guys at the top with a very stiff and clunky firing mechanism, which is much easier said than done, as I will show you. As you can see, I can sit still and literally put down the controller and he will do nothing at all other than float around. But hitting them up there is usually pretty hard because you can only shoot one bullet at a time and it moves very slowly. Now as you notice, the enemies changed. These fire differently and they also look differently, but they move in the same pattern. Again, now I'm stuck with just the two non-firing ones at the top. Let's see if I can get that guy. Their patterns are random, so guessing them is pretty hard. As you can see, it gets harder as you go along. And my only suggestion at this point in the game is to try and catch the firing ones right as they warp in, because they are really hard to hit without getting shot yourself otherwise. And these split into two, which doesn't help things any. I've exploded. And I think, oh no, he's gonna dive bomb me, he's gonna dive bomb me. Oh, so is he. As you can see, if you can manage to hit something, you can fire faster, because you're only allowed to have one bullet at a time on the screen, much like Galaga. But this is not as fluid as Galaga is, I will say that, and I've exploded again. There we go. Now these splits as well, and they go into a faster suicide mode. It blew up again. I'm gonna try and get to the final boss on this level. I mean, on this game. We're in the final levels now. If I can just manage to not die a couple more times. Oh no, get away from me. Get away! Oh. Come on, I want to hit that guy before he suicide bombs me. Oh, well. Beggars can't be choosers. At least I hit something. There we go. Oh man, I thought that would be the final boss after that. Oh, this is getting really hard now. Not to mention, I don't particularly like the Genesis controllers. They're very stiff in the D-pad. So moving like this really wears out your thumb pretty quick. No. Whew. Ah, there we go. Oh man, I think there's more levels in this than the Intellivision version. Or it seems like it, at least. Perhaps it's just because my thumb is screaming. No, stay away! Stay away, turbo function, save me! Haha, turbo controllers don't help when you still run into the bullets. Run away, run away. Haha. Oh, come on. I don't think I'll be able to make it to the final boss on this one, guys. I apologize. Oh. Well, I will say this. That does seem to be harder than the Intellivision version. But speaking of the Intellivision version, let's go to that one, shall we? Now, you can use either controller with the Intellivision. I'm going to use the one that's a little less worn out. And on the Intellivision, you have your overlays. So slide that into your controller. Now I'm going to choose just the standard game. 1. You move around with the disc. You fire with the side buttons. And you still explode like the other game. Your ship is more detailed, your bullets move a lot faster, and the enemies themselves are a little more detailed as well, although they are the same pattern. You have a wave of standard shooters, you have a wave of split. But notice also that all the enemies shoot at you in the Intellivision version, not just the two at the bottom. Now, I don't seem to be doing much better at this game than I was at the other one. Also notice there's a background music, if you could call a couple of notes music, but it does increase in tempo and pace, which really sort of sets a anxious mood. It's like, I'm getting closer, the music is getting faster. Again, with Galaga and the other version of Demon Attack, you can only shoot one bullet at a time, but if you hit something, you can shoot another one real quick. Like that. Again, I cannot tell you how much easier it is to hit these things with a faster moving bullet, and it's a lot more fun this way too. Whoa, darn it. Oh man, that was close too. Let me see if I can get to the final boss here. Let's see, we'll start again. Alright, now we're on to the final boss. Basically, you dodge these yellow things, or shoot them. They don't shoot at you, they just try and suicide bomber you. And you have to fire your way through this shield thing. As you can see, the bar is getting narrower. And now I can shoot directly at him if I can line it up right without dying. Oh no, I think I'm hung. Oh, darn it. There we go. And we start again at wave 2. Except now they're dropping different shaped bombs. As you can see, I just lost myself 2 lives there because of that crappy no invulnerability period. Just don't get too close to the mushroom clouds there. And eventually you'll get back to the final boss. Rinse, wash, and repeat. They'll drop more atomic bomb clouds, so it'll get harder. But in short, that is Demon Attack. It's a lot easier on the Intellivision, or at least the standard setting is a lot easier on the Intellivision, mainly due to the controls being smoother, although the controller is not better. But also, the Intellivision, you can really ramp up the difficulty. In fact, there are 12 different versions of the game. Some are multiplayer. You can have regular speed, advanced speed, regular speed with tracer shots, and advanced speed with tracer shots. Now, a tracer shot, I will show you. Basically, lets you fire a little shot, and depending on which way you're moving, you can move the shot into it. Notice how it's not shooting straight up anymore, because as I'm moving, the shot moves. So that's kind of interesting. It'll sort of let you do trick shots, but unfortunately I'm so used to wiggling back and forth, I normally wiggle my shot right around the target. There are also 2-player versus and 2-player co-op. Co-op basically means you're on the same stage but at different times. As you can see, it just flashed to the second player and now it's back to me. It's really distracting because you don't know when it's going to flip. See, like now it's on second player. So you have to really be on your toes. Standard second player works just like any other 2-player game back in the day. When one person dies, the other person takes over. And overall, I'd say it's a really fun game. I do prefer the Intellivision version more, simply because it looks nicer, the bullets are faster, it feels a lot smoother than the Atari. And even with the clunky Intellivision controllers, you can still have a good bit of fun. Although, pressing on the side buttons does give you a little bit of a hand cramp after a while. So which console was better, the Intellivision or the 2600? You can't really tell just by one game. It's hardly fair to judge a whole console on that. The Intellivision had better graphics and sound, but the controllers were worse. The Atari 2600 was a lot simpler in its gameplay, but it had better controllers and is the longest lifespan of a console as of yet, lasting from 1977 until 1992 when the last Atari 2600 Junior rolled off the line, and they were making games for it throughout the 80s. Both of them have a wide variety of games, and it's really up to gamers' preferences to which one they prefer. Me personally, I like them both, although I did come across the Intellivision first, so I guess I might be a little partial to that one.